Okay guys, so since we can log in successfully to our project and we can get registered, we need to take some actions. Let's say when we register a user, we want to go to the next page, and when we log into our account, we want to move to the next page. Okay, let's implement this. So we're going back to our Xcode project. I will start from the login. We're going to log in view controller, and here we go. This is the block of the code where we ended up login request, and here we're printing out the JSON. Okay, so I'll open the log. Here, when I enter valid user login, it prints for me the JSON with the proper information logged in successfully. And let's say when I enter some invalid user, let's say with an unregistered email address, it again prints for me the JSON output where it says user is not found. Or when we use a different password, which is not the same as registered, it shows us another output which says password do not match. So how we can track the different statuses, like how to handle each type of the status, for example, that one when we logged in successfully means that then we want to go to the next page. Our user is not found, then we want to stay on the same page, or at least to show an alert to the user. And the third scenario where the password do not match, want to show some alert message to the user as well. Okay, so here, in order to work on this, we will have to fetch status. That's the one, and based on the result we've received, we will be programming the behavior. Okay, how we can do that? We can write, for example, here, I write here guard parsed JSON equals to JSON guard let else return, means do not execute further, and here I'll print parsing error. Okay, and then I want to access, so here just to let you see that this this safe mode of casting JSON, the same like we did for the data. So once we accessed safely parse JSON, then we'll move to the status. Okay, let me try here to write some valid email address or anything in order to get any reply from the server. Okay, here we're now printing the parsed JSON, and it successfully shows us all the information. Okay, now I'll now access the status, which is that one. Okay, so how we can do that? It's very simple. We write parse JSON, then in the round brackets in quotation marks we write status. Okay, I will print status instead of printing parsed JSON. Okay, let's now do this experiment. Okay, so we got the status 200. If I type invalid email 201 to invalid password, if we will type some invalid email address, so it's 401. So based on this status, we will create the scenarios to behave for our app. Okay, so here we will write if parsed JSON, that's the one, square brackets, then quotation marks, we'll write status equals to 201. Here it must be in the quotation marks as well. Then helper, we wanna show the message from the server to the user. Yeah, here we will write it. We can try to write it as string. Here we go. And then helper dot show alert, and that one is password do not match. Or what we can do is message, we will keep just blank message, and the title, we will write the title from the server which we received. So parse JSON, we copy paste here, and instead of status, we'll write here message as string in self. Excellent. So I'll remove your status so we can track all the results. Okay, so 201, for any statuses, we want to just see how it looks like. Oops, so here is some error. Okay, so what we can do is, if it is 200, let's say when it's successful, we will write, for example, successfully logged, or we'll just go to another, we'll go to another screen. Okay, if let part JSON as string equals to 200, let's print here done. Okay, we'll now build and run this. And here it says done. Okay, so it means the status is 200. What if I will use invalid email address? So then it shows another status. So for that logic, we will write else statement. If status equals to 200, then proceed successfully to the next page. If it is not, then we want to show back to the user. Okay, we'll write here helper.showAlert, and we want to show your message, and the message itself, it will be empty string, and we want to present it in Canary controller. Okay, I'll now build and run this. Okay, and I'll try just to log in. So it crashes whenever it tries to execute the else statement. It means this parsed JSON message. Whenever it tries to access this, so it get crashed. Okay, just check it out what's going on here. So here successful done. Then I'll type invalid email address, so password do not match. Excellent. So here we will try to message, so everything is declared fine. Everything is fine here. We'll just try to use guard let message equals to parsed JSON message, else we'll just return, and here let's try to print message, for example. Or what we can do is, let's try to do it in this way. Okay, excellent. One very safe method will be to write if message is not empty. Here we'll write if parsed JSON message is not nil, then do this work here inside. Okay, here instead of printing out, we will ask it to be shown back to the user. Helper.showAlert. Here we'll write error, and the message will be message, the constant which we created, and want to present it in current view controller. Okay, this one scenario successfully logged in. I'll just try to log in, so it's done very well, and I'll type invalid email address. So it crashes. I'm sure, guys. So here is some error or some bug with the okay, very good. So it's because of we're trying to call this in the main thread. So what we need to do is, in order to enhance in our performance, because Xcode cannot execute each and single function in a main thread, so we will execute it in the background. So here we write just dispatch q dot main.asynchronously. Here we're opening the round brackets, and before resuming we're just closing this. Now it will work very fine. I'll just explain you how does it work. Now it's fine, and I enter something else, and still is fine. Password do not match. Excellent. So let me explain you regarding the threads. Okay, so whenever the Xcode execute the processes or app, there are different threads for each and single processes. So that one is, this is what user sees immediately. So this one is the main thread. Okay, so let's say whenever you update, or whenever you, let's say, whenever we when we call keyboard, and so the button moves up, this is a main thread. So this process goes in the main thread. For example, let's see how many processes are going in the main thread. So I click the button, keyboard shown, this is main thread. Then that one is shown, this a main thread. Then we've got the animation is main thread. Then hands disappeared as a main thread. Then the logo moved out is also the main thread. So when there are so many processes going on the main thread, so Xcode is just physically unable to execute everything. So this type of things while communicating, and one more thing, till this process is not finalized, for example, till this process is not finished, Xcode will not execute the second one. If second one is not finished, third, fourth, fifth one not going to be executed. So that's why anything which is going to the backend server, let's say these are all the round circles, these are all related to the user interface update, and let's say one square one is the server, is the request to the server. So till the request is finished, Xcode cannot execute the user interface processes. So that's why app get crashed, because Xcode is forced to execute. Let's say when we click login, it must show the alert, and it cannot cannot show it because the first process is not finished. So that's why it's always better. This is very important moment, guys. So any request, HTTP request, must be sent after, whenever you declare URL session, whenever you launch it, immediately write this code. Put this code in the closures. This code is, you always must put it in the closures, because this is all related to the server. So this is what we need to do in the background. So what we're doing is, user interface gives immediate response, while on the background Xcode will be sending the on the background thread, Xcode will be sending the request to the server. Here is, this is the queue of the process. We are accessing dispatch queue library. We're accessing the main protocols or main properties of this library, and we are running whatever in the closures asynchronously, means not together. Okay, there is one more thread, which is a global background thread. This one, it is amazing way of, let's say, downloading the pictures on the background. What will happen is, if you will try to download pictures in the main thread, Xcode will stop responding till it will finish downloading the image. So then the user experience will be really terrible. Till downloading of the image will be finished, then only Xcode can proceed further. Let's say when you're scrolling your news feed till the photo will be downloaded, Xcode will never execute the scroll function. So that's why it's very important to work with the threads. So now I'm sure that you have got some basic information about the threads. Okay, that is what does it mean. Let me explain you here the logic for those who did not understand. I'll write here steps. So step 1, declaring these things. Step 2, execute request. Step 3, receive JSON. And now step 4, create scenarios. create scenarios. So that one is successful logged in. If the status is 200, else some error occurred related to the entered data. For example, it can be like wrong password, wrong email, etc. So this is what does it mean. Here we're using also save mode of casting or checking existence of server message. If it does exist, then we want to show alert message. Okay, so this is the one when we are successfully logged in. So this scenario is when we guys successfully log in to the server. Okay, the same one we need to find out when we are successfully registering our user. Let's come back to our register view controller. Here, as you see, we're just printing the JSON, and JSON can show us thousands of different messages. So here, what I will do is I will definitely use a save mode to cast JSON. I'll use again parsed JSON equals to JSON. Guard let parse JSON equals to JSON, and here if there is something wrong, I'll just print parsing error, same like we did here. And definitely I want to return, I don't want to execute it further. Here we are returning our function. And here we write save mode of casting JSON information. Okay, excellent. Here must be else. And as you remember, there is status 200 is always used in order to receive the status of successfully completed operation. So this block of code, we can copy this and we can enter this code here in register view controller. Here we go. So here will be successfully registered. Excellent. And now it will be a step 4. Here we go. Step 4, create scenarios. So it means we're handling created scenarios. Okay, we can try now to build and run. Excellent. Here I'll just print out registered. And for login, I'll just print logged. Okay, excellent. Let's now try to build and run and to track all of these scenarios. Here we go. I'm typing existing email address. So logged, very good. Something which it doesn't exist. Excellent. This is the message which we received from the server. User is not found. Excellent. And now we'll go to create a new user. Let's create it will be a michael@mail.com. Michael Joseph. Continue password 123456. Continue, and it is mail. Email is already registered, so we got this email registered. What I will do is I'll just change already registered email address. Your users, here we go. Michael, I'll just use here Jones. Okay, very good. Okay, I'll click now mail, and it shows registered. Excellent, guys. So otherwise, as you have seen, it shows the email is already registered when the registration was not successful. So this is, guys, how we are handling the different scenarios of our logic. So now what we want to do is we want now to step in the app. Let's go and do this.